Hey everyone, this is my pool plans video for DFFOO global version of the game in early November 2021, and this video will be covering the events and banners where Vayne will be a synergy unit, and this specifically is the upcoming raid event, the mission dungeon featuring the release of Cait Sith LD, and Shelke's event at the end of the middle of the month. The infographic on the left hand side of the slide shows which events these are, and it's actually derived from Jakematt's global forecast. I'll put a link in the video description if you're interested to check out the full forecast as well. Before heading into the banners, just some quick disclaimers. This video really shares my plans and my thought process on why I decide to pull or skip for certain characters. Considering that there's multiple ways to play this game and approach the game, it may or may not be ideal for you. There's always many things to consider when pulling for banners or characters, and this includes your amount of gems and tickets, what roles that you need to cover for your roster, of course your playstyle and preferences, and who your favorite Final Fantasy characters are. Okay, so jumping to the first event is the upcoming raid event featuring the release of Vayne's LDBT, and as always there's going to be two banners on this event. The first banner consisting of Vayne with his LD and BT weapons, Iroha rerun with her LD, and the King up to his EX weapon. The second banner is a rerun banner featuring a rerun of Cloud of Darkness LDBT, as well as Struggle with his LD, and lastly Edgar up to his EX weapon. The event will also unlock BT Plus features for both Vayne and Cloud of Darkness, so if you're interested to green any one of them or both of them, this is your opportunity to do so. Personally, for me, I will be skipping the banner of Cloud of Darkness. I actually already have all the weapons there except for Cloud of Darkness's burst weapon, and I really don't want to start pulling on a banner just for the sake of a burst weapon, so that banner is a skip for me. Coming to Vayne's banner, Vayne isn't a character that I'm terribly interested in. I actually pulled hard for him the first time his EX came around, and he was actually quite decent upon his release, but to me, I just didn't use him that often to warrant, I think, a heavy investment. For this round, considering he's going to be synergy for 2 weeks, I am going to use my tickets, pulling mainly for his LD. If I don't get his burst weapon, then so be it. And even by the end of this arc, if I don't get Vayne's burst weapon, it's highly unlikely that I will token for it as well. I'd rather save my tokens for other burst characters. The next event after that is so-called Mission Dungeon in JP, and this event has a banner featuring the release of Cait Sith's LD weapon, and Cait Sith himself will receive a rework to bring him up more to par on the current meta. The banner also features a rerun of Gebrant up to his LD weapon, but as far as I can tell, Gebrant didn't receive a rework, so he's still the same Gebrant as we have in GL version of the game. And lastly, we have Yuri up to his EX. When I look at the kit for Cait Sith and what his LD brings to the table, I really like it, considering we are now in the early Lufenia Plus era, where the bosses tend to feature very heavy brave damage resistances and brave gain resistances as well. What's special or unique to Cait Sith is that his LD provides a buff to the party that provides sort of like a brave refund on every critical hit. So this really helps boost the damage potential of party members featuring many brave hits in their kit. Similar in how Van's damage works, his damage features many multiple hits and he always gets a refund after every HP dump. So in a similar way, if you have Cait Sith's buff up and you do many critical hits, you always get refunded a certain amount of Brave. This mechanic, as far as I can tell, is still somewhat unique. There are other characters who can do Brave refund, such as Iroha, but not really in the same way based on critical Brave hits such as Cait Sith can give. So on that note, I think he does offer something quite decent if you find that you need something to boost or further boost your party members' damage even further in the current meta. For me, because I already have all of his other gear, I'm only missing his LD, so I'm going to spend tickets here as well, aiming just for his LD weapon. The final banner in this arc is the debut of Shelke or Shelke. I'm not really sure how to spell her name, but I assume it's pronounced as Shelke. She's a new character here, and she's going to be released alongside Fujin with Fujin's LD weapon, which is a rerun, and Lulu will be on this banner as well, but only up to her EX weapon. Fujin is quite a decent character because she can enchant wind and imperil the wind element as well. Among the call abilities that provide elemental enchant and imperil, Fujin is still quite notable, mainly because both versions of a call provide party wind enchant, and to date, just based on call abilities alone, she is the longest lasting party elemental enchant available. If you combine both her call abilities together, I believe she provides a total of 9 turns of elemental enchant to the party, which is quite long if you slap her on a very slow character such as Core or Young. Coming to Shelke, when I look at her kit in JP, it is quite interesting because her LD weapon actually resets her to full health and cleanses all debuffs, as well as give her maximum use of her S1 and S2 all over again. You can think of her LD sort of like a self reset button to the default or initial state. Her LD also cleanses or dispels all enemy buffs, which is still quite useful considering that there's actually not many buff dispellers in the game currently. There are a few options, so definitely she's not unique in that way, but it is certainly a relatively uncommon utility, and overall I think she does provide a worthwhile investment, decent value at least. So for me, I probably will pull for her. The only thing I haven't decided yet is whether to go straight for gems or use tickets. And I think which resource I use is likely going to be based on how many tickets I have coming into this banner. So if I get lucky in the previous 2 banners with my ticket draws, then I'll probably use tickets here as well. But if I diminish a large majority of my ticket stash, then I'll probably just go straight gems here for her. Alright, so in this part of the video, I'll be covering my opinions on which characters should you try to prioritize over others if you are low on precious resources, such as of course your gems and tickets, but also your ingots and armor tokens and so on. Because really in this game, what you want is to focus on maxing out characters as they come, rather than split your resources across multiple characters but not having them fully built. So if you are low on resources, personally this is my thoughts on how I would categorize the characters in this arc. Make no mistake, it doesn't mean that even characters in the Constellation Prize are bad. They are actually very usable even in Lufenia Plus, but it's more a matter of which characters will probably provide you more value in the long term if you are very low on resources. Usually I would put the BT characters under the good value category, but in this arc I actually think Vayne and Cloud of Darkness is more on a role fulfillment category, and I'll cover a bit on why I put them here. So they are actually quite good, but for me, especially if you already have very good DPS characters, such as the meta of Seed Rains and Afmal combo, for example, then I don't think you will really be using Vayne all too often. Unless you are maybe fairly new to the game and you're still low on key damage dealing characters, then I guess Vayne will be a good pickup. Cloud of Darkness, I really like her kit because she is one of the few characters that offers very strong off-turn damage with her BT aura, and once she gets BT plus, that gives her the opportunity of providing another 5 turns of BT aura or another 5 turns of off-turn damage that triggers after any attack that you do in your party. So overall, she is actually very strong there. The reason why I put her in role fulfillment is really because you can actually make do with a support Cloud of Darkness as well. So if you really want to capitalize on her BT aura, you can just get a 5-turn Cloud of Darkness support and use that, and that saves a lot on your resources. That being said, though, if you really like off-turn damage and you want to capitalize on her BT and BT plus as well to give you many turns of off-turn damage, that is actually another option that you can go for as well if you really like Cloud of Darkness. For Shelke, I think her kit, I think to me the biggest draw there is the utility rather than the damage. Where I think she shines is really the fact that she provides buff dispel, and she can actually reset her own status back to full health, as well as her S1 and S2 skills. Overall, I think she's quite decent, but if you think about what you can do if you actually skip out on her, there are many other characters who could fulfill some of her utility. So overall, I think she isn't sort of good value material, but she's decent enough under role fulfillment. Under good value, I only placed one character this arc, which is Cait Sith, and I guess it is very heavily biased just because I really like his kit, but I really think in the current meta where the Lufenia Plus stages feature very heavy brave damage resistances, you really want to try to go for strong support characters who can help boost the overall damage of your party, and Cait Sith really can provide that for the next few fights at least. So I think he's a very good pickup and will probably provide you a good return of investment. Under consolation prizes are the rest of the LD characters, so Gebrand, Fujin, Strago, and Iroha. They are quite good, but I don't think I at least will be using them very often moving forward. And again, this depends on your party roster, but for example, Gebrand really is most notable for his call ability, which provides HP damage up. But if you have Kurasame, you'll very likely not use Gebrand. The other issue with Gebrand is that his call only provides 10% HP damage up and nothing much else in terms of defense down or brave damage up, which is quite important in the current meta as well. You really want to try to stack defense down debuffs to try to pierce through the heavy defenses that Lufenia Plus has. Fujin, like I said, is a great call ability, but if you already pull for Bards provides all the Wind Enchant and Imperil that you will ever need, and if you haven't picked up Bards yet, I highly recommend to go for him. He is one of the top support characters, at least in the current point in time. Struggle is sort of like the AoE specialist, and the reason why I put him under consolation prize is, first of all, of course there are other options for DPS characters, but the other reason is the next arc after Vayne who will feature Lan and Rain, the twins from World of Final Fantasy. And if you are looking for AoE specialists, they really excel in that role. And if you plan to pick up Lan and Rain, then there's really no need to go for struggle. It's going to be sort of like overkill in that regards. Iroha is here mainly because of Cait Sith. Yeah, so to me, if I'm already going to be using Cait Sith, it's going to be very challenging to also slot in Iroha in the same party as well. So that's the main reason why she's here under consolation prize. Lastly, I just want to mention that a lot of this also depends on what other characters you have in your roster. So if you've already been playing for some time, if you've picked up recent key meta characters, again Sid Reigns come to mind, then I think this sort of makes sense. But if you are fairly new to the game, and you don't have that many characters built up, you probably want to go for characters such as Vayne or Cloud of Darkness even over Cait Sith, because they will really help you clear stages, especially the older Chaos and Lufenia stages, much better than in a way that Cait Sith can. But it really goes to show how your roster can influence which characters that you want to prioritize when planning your pools. So I really cannot stress that enough, hence the disclaimer at the bottom. Always focus on roles that fills gaps in your roster. Alright, that's the end of the video. In this time, in summary, I will be spending tickets for Vayne's LD. I plan to skip the Cloud of Darkness and Struggle banner. Again, I will be also using tickets for Cait Sith, mainly for his LD only. And lastly, for Shelke, it's still a little bit undecided. Probably more using gems, but if I get lucky on the previous banners and I still have a lot of tickets, then I will maybe change my mind and use tickets for her. But I will definitely be pulling for her. As always, if you enjoyed the content, do leave a like, comment or subscribe. It really helps a lot. Till then, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!